Hello, my name is Robbie. Can you tell me your full name, please?
My name is Nabial Ali.
And can you tell me where you're from?
I'm from Harare, Zimbabwe.
Okay, and can I see your identification, please? Okay, thank you very much. Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask some questions about yourself. So to begin with, can you tell me a little about your work or your studies?
I study in the UK. I study a law LLB, and I have in my first year currently, but will be continuing for another 3.
Okay. Do people like to cycle to work or studies in your country?
It is fairly common because cars aren't so extremely popular, and the population is rather small in comparison to some others, such as the US or the UK, for example, and population density also isn't so great, so it's quite easy to cycle and not be an obstruction to
Okay. Would you prefer to travel to work in your own car or by public transport?
I would prefer in my own vehicle.
Why is that?
Because personally I'm rather time challenged,
Okay.
and so traveling in my own vehicle gives me the opportunity to pass by all of the extra time spent in the stops and trying to wait for public transportation in these other issues that may be cause time related. And I also prefer the freedom of being able to not have to think of yourself so much in some way, where you're surrounded by people and you have to kind of remember to act specifically or not, and sometimes I don't prefer to speak on the phone, for example, when I'm around people or in public transportation, and it's more comfortable.
Okay. Right, I'd now like to ask some questions about sport. Do you like to play any sports?
Yes. I'm an avid fanatic of football.
And what sports are popular in your country?
In Zimbabwe, mainly rugby and cricket, but also football a little, but it's not the main pride, you can say.
What are some of the benefits of playing sport?
Well, sports can keep you healthy and fit. They can also be a rather social thing where you can meet people, make friends. It's a really easy way to meet people, instead of if you're kind of socially challenged a bit and you can't and you don't feel so comfortable to just approach someone and be like, hi, my name is, and start a conversation like this. It's also, you always have a topic to talk about. If you get stuck somewhere, you can always talk about sports with most people, because there's often a common point somewhere you can find.
Okay. Why do you think football is such a popular sport around the world?
I think football is a really popular sport because of just how easy it is to reach everyone. There's all sorts of media, and it's more global in the way the teams are set out as well. Because, say, for example, American football is really just in North America and the USA specifically, where all of their teams participate there and no one in the rest of the world really gets insight into it. But football has never been really enclosed into one nation or one society in this way.
Okay. Right, I'd like to ask some questions about sleep. How much sleep do you need every night?
About 5 to 7 hours.
Okay. And what are your sleep habits?
My sleep habits are rather bad, and I sleep late in the night usually, and it doesn't help. So it kind of creates a bad pattern where you end up sleeping late, waking up late, and continuing this.
Okay. What are some of the things that can keep you awake at night?
If I've had a particularly troubling day, or if I have just a thought on my mind that really irks me, or for example, if I'm just thinking about something specific, like if I have a question about life in general that I start to think about, or if I get into a interesting conversation or a TV show.
Okay. Now, I'm going to give you a topic, and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. And before you talk, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say, and you can make some notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, so here's your topic, and here's some pen and paper for some notes. Please start preparing. Okay, are you ready? Okay, now remember you only have to talk for 1 to 2 minutes, so don't worry if I stop you in the middle. Okay, please start talking.
A film that I really enjoyed is called Now You See Me. It was released in 2013, I believe, and I first watched it in my house on Netflix or one of these movie sharing medias with my family, and just in my living room watching the show, where we all got to discuss and pause as we wished. It's a movie which is kind of about magic and these type of, not magic like fairy tales, but magic as in street magic and these types of things, where it's got these 4 magicians who start becoming very popular, and then they start performing heists of a kind, but they do it very publicly, and no one can really understand how they manage to pull off these feats. And then there is the police, which start tracking them for their obvious reasons of them robbing banks and performing other such illegal activities. But because they can't explain how it's done, it becomes very difficult for the police to make a conviction or actually do anything in this way. But in the end, it has a few plot twists and really shows, like, comes out in a way that you may not have expected while watching the movie. And even the characters in the movie act surprised or are surprised by how events eventually unfold.
Okay, that's fine. Is it the kind of film which is good to watch again, second time?
I have watched it multiple times.
Oh, right, okay, so it is. Okay. Now, I'd want to ask some questions related to this subject. So to begin with, I'd like to ask you about the film industry. So does your country, Zimbabwe, have a successful film industry?
Not particularly.
No, why not?
Zimbabwe isn't a very thriving nation, and so not much focus is put on the arts, such as films and this type of thing. So we don't have many like working or very functional aspects of life such as this. And also there isn't a large market for these type of things.
Okay.
Like, their population is pretty small, as I said, and we're not the richest country in the world, so there isn't much room for these type of spendings.
Okay. Do you feel films should be subject to any form of censorship?
It's a bit of a complex question, because in general, no, but I do feel like there are some topics that are just logically not supposed to be touched on. For example, I'm Muslim myself, and there's a idea in the world of Islam that you're not supposed to show the Prophet. He's not supposed to have a depiction, and it's supposed to be that he's not supposed to be worshipped the same way that Christianity does with Jesus, for example, where we pray to him. He is just the messenger of God, but not someone to be prayed to. And I think if there's some sort of stipulation such as this, the film industry should think within themselves that it's better not to do this for any reason, because there's no real necessity to portray Prophet Muhammad. But it's technically censorship, but it's technically not.
Okay. Do you feel it should be illegal to stream films on the internet?
I don't really think so.
No?
Because
Why not?
Because in reality, it's going to be done anyways.
Okay.
And the film industry still makes millions, billions of dollars off their works, and even as you see today, it's still being done, and they're still making major profits.
Okay.
Well, some people won't necessarily be able to go and watch these movies, maybe because of financial restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
Some very poor neighborhoods, but they may have the opportunity to stream the movie or access it somehow through media.
Okay.
And I think for people like this, it's really important somehow that they get this opportunity the same way.
Okay. Do you feel that actors are paid too much for what they do?
No, I don't.
Uh-huh.
Because logically, in the capitalist world, their work earns them so much money because it generates so much money.
Yeah.
Because they get this major gain from the movies that they make. That box office brings in millions and billions, like I said.
Mm-hmm.
It is logical that they make as much money as they do, because for their work to make so much and them being paid minimum wage, such as someone whose work generates minimum wage,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't make sense for them to have all of this money that they make go to where?
Yeah. Okay. Now I'd like to ask some questions about entertainment. What do people do for entertainment in the evenings and at weekends in your country?
In my country, people generally go to sports events, or
Uh-huh.
they meet up at bars or cafes,
Mm-hmm.
or go to clubs or house parties maybe.
Okay. And how has entertainment changed over the last 50 years in your country?
I think the sports has been the major part throughout time of my country.
Mm-hmm.
But for example, maybe clubs and bars have become a bit more popular in recent years,
Mm-hmm.
whereas going out to cafes and these type of things have been pretty common throughout the years.
Okay. How does advertising affect the entertainment industry in your country?
Most of the time, advertising doesn't have a very large effect because, for example, bars and things aren't really advertised at all. Everyone just kind of knows about it.
Mm-hmm.
And especially, like I said, a lot of people go to house parties, and these aren't something that are really advertised so much. It's just you invite who you want at your
Mhm.
party, and it just kind of stays this way. So it's rather not advertising, but more from word of mouth.
Okay. Thank you very much, Nabial. That's the end of the test.